today in Rich in Relationship. We're going to talk about what happens when the primary wage earner is just burning out. Very often, the prime breadwinner looks strong on the outside, but it feels unsustainable on the inside. It feels unsustainable because there is a lot of pressure. If you're feeling pressured, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling like you're emotionally unavailable, or if you're feeling like your partner is emotionally unavailable, it needs to be named. Name it. It is not weakness to name it. Change comes through naming it. Welcome to another episode of Rich in Relationship. I am your host, Rich Heller, and today we're talking about what we're calling breadwinner burnout. Last episode, we talked about overt and covert control that might happen when one person earns more than another, which is pretty much the state of most American households. Either one person's earning more or one person's completely supporting the household. It's rare that there's perfect parity between incomes. Today, we're going to talk about the cost of carrying the financial burden on the breadwinner. Jose says, I'm doing everything I can for this family, so why do I feel so drained and unappreciated? This is so common. So many men, and let's be honest, 70% of households are still being led by men who are the primary wage earners, even though 29% are now female and a very small percentage are even. So many men feel that they are not only not appreciated, but not respected for the job that they're doing. And I can tell you from the clients that I've had that women who are the prime breadwinners feel the same way. Not so much not respected, but not appreciated and not recognized, and certainly not heard in many ways. What we're talking about here is emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion from the pressure of being the one who feels like they are holding it all together. And as we explained in the last episode, even though both people in a partnership may be contributing equally in effort, forget money for a second, just in effort, maybe it's the effort of being the prime breadwinner and the effort of managing all the children and all that other good stuff. Though that's an extreme example, or there might be more overlap than that. Even though they might feel that they're both contributing, only one of them is in the position of, if they get fired, that family is going to take a major hit. They may have to downsize. If they get fired and don't find a job of equal pay, they may have to downsize. They may have to reconsider their position in their community. There's so much pressure that comes with that. Why is that? Because we live in a culture that values materialism. We live in a culture that stresses the importance of having the right, whatever you can think of, the right house, the right husband, the right car, that our kids go to the right schools, that we go on the right vacation, that we have the right friends, that we are engaged in the right activities, that we go to the right clubs. And because there's so much focus on materialism in our culture, the person who is earning the thing that provides for the materialism feels much more pressure socially, feels much more pressure emotionally, financially, in many ways. And we could throw out all of that materialism, which the media inserts in us, because it's what keeps the economy going, right? We're a capitalist society, and buying stuff is what makes the wheels get greased. And speaking to people's hidden desires, needs, and wants, and hooking them and getting them addicted to a certain lifestyle is what part of what keeps it all going and keeps us all striving, right? I'm not knocking that, though I am knocking it. We need to get that even with all that, the prime wage earner really is providing the sustenance of survival. And that is a big burden to carry. Very often, the prime breadwinner looks strong on the outside, but it feels unsustainable on the inside. It feels unsustainable because there is a lot of pressure. There's pressure in the workplace. There's pressure from the other partner. There are needs that aren't being met. Many households do not manage their money well, and that adds to the pressure. Why aren't you making more? Why are you spending so much? Etc. It's hidden because our culture frames breadwinning as pride and accomplishment. Our culture is highly materialistic. But this isn't real because the breadwinner is not carrying all of the burden. The fact of the matter is that in a partnership, both partners are carrying the burden. The breadwinner is carrying the financial burden, or the primary breadwinner is carrying the primary financial burden. The other partner is carrying management of life, of household, and maybe even of relationships. It's not carrying it all, but it feels like it's carrying it all because of all the things we mentioned earlier about society being materialistically oriented and how we all get hooked on that. I thought I wanted career success, but why does it feel like I can't step off the treadmill? And the truth is that when we become the prime breadwinner and we're carrying the burden of the survival of our family, we're not just on the treadmill of work, we're on the treadmill of growing expenses at home. Children need educational support. They get involved in a sport. The house isn't big enough. Something breaks. That puts additional financial burden. Maybe the other partner who isn't earning as much, or maybe not earning anything at all, wants to grow themselves as an individual and launch into the world as a breadwinner, or maybe they want to expand their ability to earn. That is going to require sacrifice on the part of the prime breadwinner, who is already all in 110% competing for their household. She is also competing. They are also competing in the job place. The job place is a competitive sphere, not often a collaborative one. And so they are working hard to prove that not only are they doing their job adequately, but they're doing their job better than someone else would. Because let's be honest, employers are always looking for either a less expensive way to get it done, or someone who's going to do it better for the same money, or even more money as long as it's better. And so there's the prime breadwinner, pressured in the workplace and pressured at home. Does that give them license for control? No. See the last episode of Rich in Relationship. Men have been socialized to equate worth with provision, so men are particularly vulnerable to this. But don't make any mistake. Women can transfer their sense of wealth, sense of personal worth. Women can transfer their sense of personal well-being, their sense of who they are, their sense of success on external accomplishments as well. This is something as human beings, anyone who is feeling insecure on the inside will try and validate themselves through external success. Women who out-earn men also face guilt and cultural pushback. I can't tell you how many women clients I've had who come to me and say they feel guilty that they're not showing up for their kids the way their mother showed up for them, the way they think they should be. And also that when they go to school at school events, the other moms who maybe aren't working full-time or at all often judge them for the fact that they have a career and that they're not as involved as their kids' lives as they are. And let's be honest, that's a two-way street. The moms who aren't working as much or at all feel like, why have I given up my personal development for my family? And why does she get to do that? And the moms who are working full time, maybe they're carrying the whole load of the financial load of the household, feel like, why don't I get to be like those moms over there being with my kids in their prime years? It's a two-way street. Work demands plus family responsibilities equals a double load. And I'm going to tell you that I have actually been in that position in my first marriage. My first wife had a mental illness and was not able to participate as fully and completely. And I ended up carrying a lot of the burden of being both the prime wage earner, and really all of my income sustained us, and making sure that my schedule was such that I could be there for the kids, getting them to school, getting them after school, etc. And I got a lot of help from the community because they saw my conundrum. And that is the thing. When you're taking care of the children, you're part of a community and you get help. When you're the prime breadwinner, you are competing in a community. It's a very different mindset. A Pew Foundation study in 2023 showed that in 55% of marriages, men are the primary earners, and in 29%, women are. And the difference is, what is that? That's 84%. That means 26% are equal. Yet in both cases, the higher earner reports higher stress and lower relationship satisfaction. And yeah, duh, of course. They're competing in the workplace. They're missing out at home, while the home carrying lower wage earner has at least the relationship satisfaction of being at home and the community satisfaction, that can be competitive, but not in the same way that work can. So if I'm the provider, why do I feel so alone in it? Asks Laura. It's isolation, because the breadwinner cannot, they feel that they cannot admit any kind of weakness. So you're in there in the workplace, you're competing, you're putting your best foot forward. If they say, "How are you feeling today?" You don't say, "Oh, I don't know. I'm tired. I didn't sleep so well. I don't think I'm going to be able to do such a great job." Hell no, you don't say that in a competitive environment. And so they always need to show strength, and that adds to the pressure. They come home and then they resent the non-breadwinner or lower breadwinner because they can say, "Kids, I'm not feeling 100% today," or, "Hey, neighbor, would you help me out here? I'm a little under the weather." And what that leads to is that the non-breadwinner starts to be seen as not pulling enough weight, even though they are. But the difference is that the non-breadwinner or the lower breadwinner's got a better network of support, while the primary wage earner, primary breadwinner, is in a much more competitive environment most of the time. Burnout starts to show up. It shows up as irritability. "I'm tired. Not today. Do we have to talk about this now?" Withdrawal. "You know what? I'm just going to go to bed. You know what? I'm going to go to the basement and play some games. You know what? I need to take a walk. You know what? I'm busy working right now here at home." We're going to do a whole episode on that coming up. An APA study in 2021 shows that 72% of primary earners report significant financial stress compared to 40% of secondary earners. There's just no contest. The primary earner is going to be under more pressure and in many ways less supported. She says, "I'm distant, but I'm just exhausted. How do I explain that?" Well, Harry, you explain it by telling her what I'm telling you. Explain to her how when you go to work, you feel unsupported. Explain to her how you don't feel you can take days off. Explain to her that you believe if you took days off, even when it's in your contract to do so, you'd be seen as weaker. You'd be seen as not up to the job. Explain to her that by going to work, even though you get paid time off and not using that paid time off, that you are demonstrating that you are competitive. Explain to her, or if you're a Sally who's experienced that, explain it to him. This is like, if you're the prime wage earner, whether you're the man or the woman, you're having this experience. And get that there is an intimacy strain that comes with this. When we feel like we are being challenged in a way that doesn't feel healthy, when we feel like we're being in competition with others for what is supporting our family, it puts an intimacy strain on the relationship. It is not always so easy to walk out of a competitive, checklist-driven environment and then let it all go and be vulnerable when you get home. And for guys, this is particularly challenging because we live in this man-in-the-box culture, where sadness, hurt, fear, feeling alone are just things we don't really roll in. We're all about, we can roll in it, by the way. It might even be good for us to roll in it. But what we tend to be all about is when the going gets tough, the tough get going, yada, 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 yada. Well, that will kill intimacy. In fact, if you're the prime breadwinner earner and you're a woman, you're going to come home kind of wired up. And what we know is that women need to feel safe and relaxed and vulnerable before they want to be physically intimate. If you're the prime breadwinner and you're a man, you're going to come home all wired up. And what we know about men is they often want to be physically intimate in order to feel relaxed and safe and vulnerable. But if you're all wired up and amygdala driven, your partner is going to be like, "Hell no, I don't want anything to do with you in that state." And so the prime breadwinner, whether male or female, is going to have less access to vulnerability and intimacy in their relationship. There's going to be a power imbalance we talked about in the last episode. Hey, it's my money, my say. I busted my ass for this. Whether you're the man or the woman, you might be saying that. I've had couples come into this room or rooms in that I've worked in where the woman was the prime wage earner, the man was not earning as much, and she told him how it was to go. And you know what? He could push against that, but he was unwilling to. Well, we worked on that. The power imbalances leveled out. They have more of an equal say. But in that environment, that's when infidelity happens. In that environment, that's when financial trust is broken. In that environment where there's a power imbalance, like we talked about in the last episode, that's when things start to come apart. The non-breadwinner or the lower wage earner often feels infantilized or sidelined. Their opinion doesn't matter. And there's a family ripple effect when this goes on. Kids pick up on the stress and the distance. Kids start to mimic the behavior that they're seeing. And you got to ask yourself, if we're doing this unconsciously right now and our kids are picking up on it, what is this going to do to our kids and their relationships? What's going to happen to our grandchildren? Is this really the legacy I want to leave behind? Janet asks, if I step back from earning, will I let my family down? And yeah, in a way, you might, and in a way, you might not. Jerome says, if I admit I'm burnt out, would she think I'm weak? She may, and she may not. She may think, finally, Jerome, you're making yourself available to her. Finally, you're showing your humanity to her. Finally, you're showing that you're not G.I. Jerome, but the man that she fell in love with. It's important that we learn to name it, particularly men. Women do this better, but there are women who have trouble naming it also. If you're feeling pressured, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling like you're emotionally unavailable, or if you're feeling like your partner is emotionally unavailable, it needs to be named. Name the feeling. What is it? Not with blame, just say, I am feeling. Burnout thrives, like shame, thrives in silence. You need to bring it to the open. I'm burnt out. I'm done. I became a coach when I was totally burnt out. I was being coached to double my business. And about 2/3 of the way through, I suddenly realized I hated the work that I was doing and I was burnt out. I couldn't do it until I was absolutely up against it. And when I did, my partner had empathy and compassion for me. And she 100% supported me in changing that. And to this day, she doesn't regret it. She says, I could not let you live like that anymore. Name it. It is not weakness to name it. Change comes through naming it. Share the load. Share the financial understanding. You can't share what's going on competitively for work, but you can share what to do with the money. You can say, is there a way we can spend less? You can say, I need to slow down our spending plan while I catch up on my workload. You can do that together. You can redefine roles. We talked in the last episode about taking different leadership lines, different lines of leadership. Provision isn't just about money. It's about time. It's about care. It's about presence. Provision could be about taking what you have and learning to make more out of it. It might be about putting it in an S&P 500 fund, or it might be about buying a piece of property and renting it out. And it might be that the non-primary wage earner will have the ability to manage that, right? Maybe take that money, give it to them, and let them find a way to provide by managing what you give them. You're not going to change the prime wage earner competitive work problem, but you can change the dynamic at home. Couples who explicitly share financial decision-making report a 20% higher satisfaction in their relationship, says the Journal of Family Issues in 2020. So what does a healthy breadwinning role look like? Healthy breadwinners don't carry it all. They lead with support. They often allow their partners to lead in many, many other areas besides breadwinning. And I'm not just talking about taking out the garbage and cooking. I'm talking about actually leading. There are clear lanes of financial leadership, and there's also clear lanes of emotional leadership and partnership. They redefine success. Wealth may equal financial stability, but it actually equals more than that. Real wealth is emotional vitality. It's relationship synergy. And so They redefine success as relationship synergy as a result of financial success and healthy distribution and management of that wealth. Prosperous families are not only rich in money, but they are rich in relationship. Next episode, she has it all, so why is she unfulfilled? Or it might be he has it all, so why is he unfulfilled? Depending on who we're talking about. If you like what you're hearing, if you want to hear more, or if you have questions, like, subscribe, comment on this podcast. We're always looking to hear from you. In the meantime, have an awesome day and a wonderful tomorrow.